Tim Prister with Tim OMalley, John Brice following Marcus Freeman's Monday press conference. Naturally, most of the conversation was very positive today. One of the negatives that we weren't aware of coming out of the game, Gabe Rubio, Notre Dame's number 2 or 1A defensive tackle, has a slight knee injury, slight enough for him to miss at least a couple of weeks. So that likely, certainly Riley Mills continues to start, and that likely elevates Donovan Heinisch, who's working as a third-team tackle. But hey, players of the week. Sam Hartman on offense, Marcus Freeman on defense, Chris Tyree, special teams. Hartman did a little bit of everything. Marcus Freeman did a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I talked to some people as we all had our marathon travel days the last 24, 36 hours. I don't know, time bleeds together. But I talked to some people who said as much as Marcus thought he was 100% a year ago, Marcus Freeman truly is 100% now. You're seeing it. You're seeing him faster than ever. That's directly from the staff. You're seeing him more confident and aggressive than ever before. It absolutely showed on the field. The tip of the spear, so to speak, for those 3 linebackers that I thought played so well.
Yeah, winning football is the way that Marcus Freeman put it, and he said all 3 linebackers did that. And speaking of playing winning football or calling winning football, Jared Parker had a great day in his debut as Notre Dame's offensive coordinator. Marcus Freeman and him spoke. Marcus Freeman said, yeah, keep doing that. Do that every week.
It's my advice when I see things like that. Just do that every single time. You'll be fine. But and I thought Freeman made a good point. Look, we can talk about game plans and play calls and call sheets and all the things you do, but they got to execute it. And they executed at a high level. It makes your play calls look better. Parker, the point he made, and I think John made this post-game, the operation, the execution, the communication for week 1, basically first-time offensive coordinator. I know he's not technically the first-time offensive coordinator, but in this situation, that's what is impressive. There was 1 penalty on offense. It was not pre-snap. It was a really well-run machine, and let's be honest, Sam Hartman ran the machine,
yeah,
and it's going to be a better run machine this year because Sam Hartman's doing it. But by Jared Parker to start off, I think we all realize that. Freeman made a good point, though. Look, it is because people execute. It's just behind the scenes, Parker did great.
Yeah. Well, virtually the entire team came out ready to play. There's no doubt about that. And that included 2 first-time starting offensive guards, Rocco Spindler on the right side, Pat Coogan on the left side. I broke down or went through the game film and published the tail of the tape today. I thought they both played well. I thought Coogan showed a lot of burst and a lot of physicality. But again, Marcus Freeman said those 2 offensive guards in their first start played winning football.
Yeah, they did, and Coogan was really physical and really aggressive. I thought just a tad more comfortable than Rocco, but I thought both played really well, particularly for their first starts. I think a lot of people will take with them the image of Rocco Spindler grabbing hold of Jabron Payne on that key 3rd and short and helping shove him forward. I thought that was another really cool call that we saw from Jared Parker. That was when they were lined up in, I don't know, the G-Cat, the Irish Cat, what we've got to figure out, the Shamrock Cat, I don't know. We've got to have a name for it. And then that was not long after I thought one of Jared Parker's and Sam Hartman's most seamless and promising interactions together. That was directly after the penalty. Notre Dame gets backed up into 3rd and 12 on what would have been a first down, and Sam Hartman finds Audric Estime leaking out of the backfield for a huge gainer. There's a lot that was involved. Even though it looks like a simple play, there was a lot involved to make that play work so well, work so effectively and efficiently for Notre Dame. I thought, to me, that was singularly one of the biggest moments of the game.
Audric Estime had a little sideline time there down the stretch of the first half because of his fumble. I thought it was a bad fumble because he first of all he could see the lane from Navy was coming, and he just punched the football, and he has to protect it better than that. But as Marcus Freeman said, the standard is the standard. It bends for nobody, and Estime understood why he had to stand on the sideline for a while, was prepared to go back in, ended up with a game-high 95 yards rushing.
It should bend for nobody, but especially for someone that fumbled 3 times last year in 3 weeks. Because
look,
you can say you're not a fumbler all you want until you start fumbling again. So now, Audric Estime, he also said he's running back 1. We need him. He is the man. We're going to rely on him. A little bit of sideline time will get your head focused pretty well, right? He sat out the UNLV game, basically, when he fumbled, and they gave him the ball 2 times in a row to start Syracuse. No one's given up on Audric Estime. He's got to quit fumbling, because if that happens in 3 particular games this year, or maybe 3 other tricky ones, then it's a real problem.
Deion Colzie stepped up. He only had, I didn't realize this, he only had 7 snaps. 7 snaps, 3 receptions, 1 touchdown. I don't like that as a former coach. I don't like that notion of being a guy that's ready on game day but doesn't practice well. We don't see all the practices. But Deion Colzie stepped up at a time, and look, either Colsey or Merriweather or both have to step up in a game if you want to fully maximize what you have with Sam Hartman. Merriweather didn't. Deion Colsey did this week.
Two-headed validation. I'm not sure which is more important. First and foremost, it's validation for Deion Colsey. Personal belief that he absolutely needed after we know he did not have a great camp. Here's the other thing, though. Marcus Freeman and all those guys talk about winning every rep, winning every down, playing for that moment, live for the moment, move on to the next. I forget the exact phrase right now. Deion Colsey got 7 snaps, as you alluded to. He scored a touchdown. He made a huge, impressive diving catch to keep a drive moving. He blocked well on a couple of other plays that leaked out to the perimeter. That's a perfect example of teach tape for Marcus Freeman and this Notre Dame staff. When you have a guy that got 7 plays, by God, he made the most of those 7 plays.
Tennessee State comes to town this weekend. Eddie George, head coach at Tennessee State. Marcus Freeman, very familiar with Eddie George, also an Ohio State standout. I thought it was interesting that, Tim, that the comment made to El Golden by Marcus Freeman was, what was it, that let the great players play great football. You don't want to be too complex defensively coming off of Navy, and especially, not to underestimate the opponent, Tennessee State, but you want to be sound and you want to let the great players be great.
And he mentioned that it doesn't think it'll be that hard to adjust because during the course of practice, they would go from 1s versus 1s to some Navy prep, 2s versus 2s to some Navy prep. I think they really know how to mix it in. We should point out for people that didn't watch this, Brian Newberry said Notre Dame knows how to play the option. They play it every year, and now they know how to practice against it. They have a handle on these things, and also they have a handle on how to come back from the option. It was asked today. You handled it so well last year. Your defense didn't have to take that much time to adjust. That was Boston College's offense with a backup quarterback, but it is a similar situation. There are better players going against Tennessee State. They should play well. You don't have to have absolute focus. I think that would be what Freeman probably tries to drive home Wednesday and Thursday. Today is a bit of a walkthrough if people are wondering. He has changed his setup, a unique setup for us because Brian Kelly and previous coaches gave them Sunday off, go walk through and do film Monday. Freeman's going back to that. Last year he had them practicing on Sunday. It's an interesting week, but it just not unlike 2012. You're not bringing in Kawan Short, Purdue, and some guys that can wreck your offensive line. So I think this is a really good way to come back from the Navy game.
If you haven't caught all of our coverage from the weekend in Dublin, you can find it on irishillustrated.com. We published Tale of the Tape today, wrapping up Notre Dame's victory over 42-3 victory over Navy. And we'll be heading to a podcast right now. So for all the information on Notre Dame football, go to irishillustrated.com.